It's finally gonna happen. Man, I hope you guys are excited about this as I am. So I've got the legs up. We've got them housed nice inside of our dados there on both sides. I've got a couple clamps on here to hold it into place. And I've got one of the tops up here freshly planed and flattened, which was a tremendous amount of work. So let's install the wedges, and hopefully I got this at the right height. Man, I'm excited. Oh, look at that. So we can pound that down there. I don't know if we need to. We can probably just wiggle it back and forth a few times. We'll probably be taking it out before now and then. And then that will lock in there just beautifully. Side number 2. Isn't that wedge lock system just lovely? It's just lovely. So now if we did this right, we should come up here and just be 1/8 of an inch below this 2x, which is exactly what we are. Right there, you see that? We're 1/8 inch all the way across here. Reason being now is we're going to glue these together. We're going to clamp glue these together, and then this being already planed down smooth and flat, we'll plane this down to match it. This will be the outside of our bench. We're actually picking up another 3 inches on our bench. But you can really start to see what it's going to look like there from the side. So our next step before we glue the apron to the side is to put a bolt through here. You can see I've got a nice heavy duty 1/2 inch bolt there, recessed. And over here on the other side, coming through the post just above the dowel right there. That's not really, it's not to hold the bench together that much. It's just a little bit extra and it makes it so we can take it apart. So I'll put the other side in, I'll show you how I laid that out and we'll drill that. But once we get that in, then we'll glue the top to the apron. And then this here, I didn't share these with you. These are called bearers, and they're put on the top of the legs so that we can lag up through into the bench. We don't want any metal in our bench using chisels and our fine woodworking tools. So the least amount of metal we can put in a carpenter's bench, the better. Here's another perspective here. You can just see the fit and finish on this is really turning out nice. I didn't plane or spend a lot of time on the inside of this apron. You can see there's a lot of planer marks in it because it's just not necessary. It's all going to be glued up. But there you can see the fit between the wedge and everything is nice. Those little wedges sticking down are kind of a nice little detail. You can see them from the outside. So these are the bolts that I'm using here. You can see that they've got a nice big washer on them. So whatever size you use, 7/16 seems about right, 1/2 inch. I want to make sure that if you want to countersink them, which really looks nice, you want a bit. This is a little bit bigger. This one here is 1.25 inches. So this is a paddle bit. These have a tendency to tear wood out pretty bad. We've also got a knot right there, which is a problem. So we're going to be really careful and let these leading edges, these little sharp edges, slowly cut that circle into the wood. Then we can bring a little bit more pressure to bear. But I had good luck on the other one, so we'll try it here and see. That'll do it. Now we're going to switch to the bolt that's just about one size bigger than our bolt, so it goes through freely there. And we have a nice place to start right there. So we're not going to go all the way through. We're just going to go through a little bit more than halfway. Now the reason why we don't want to go all the way through, because the chances are we're not going to hit the hole where we want to, and when we do come through, we're going to tear out and make a big mess. So I've got it laid out. I've transferred the mark from the other side, and I'll drill in and meet the hole. There, I can feel it. And I can see daylight. You'll notice the wood on this apron is a little bit scabby. It's got a lot of knots. I used the worst material that I had on this outside piece because I wanted the flat, nice tops without knots as much as possible on the tabletop. But it is what it is. So we'll tap our bolt through. As soon as I feel that bolt coming through there, I'm going to stop pounding and I'll put my ratchet on there and thread it through. Just much less likely to tear out a corner or section there. We don't want to do that. Now is not the time to get in a rush. We've come this far and worked so hard. All right, got a nice big, I found a big old heavy black, heavy nylon washer. And we'll just firm this up. We don't need to tighten it up so much that it's going to deform the wood. We just want it nice and stiff, nice and rigid. I like that. Already this bench is just exceedingly stiff and stable, just with that one piece on there. I'm so excited to complete this, I can't hardly stand to do the video here. So we're going to square our legs, both of them, make sure that we're exactly square with our apron. That looks good. Now we're ready to glue up our first side. Now make sure you pick your best side on your tabletop there, and I think this is the one. Well, actually, you know, they're both really good, but this one here, they're both really good. Yep, I think I'll just go with this one here. All right, and what we're going to do now, just test fit everything, get all of our clamps ready. And we're going to glue these two together, clamp these together tight, and then leave it overnight. All right, so I've got the top here, the side planed. It's going to mate up to the apron, really nice and flat. I've done my clamp rehearsal. I've got everything adjusted. I've suffered for not doing that in the past, and everything's ready. I've got my top of my bearers are clean, and I'm going to put lots of glue on here. Let's spread this out here. Got a lot of good advice from subscribers on glue, especially valuable from those of you guys who've worked like in the ski industry where you do a lot of laminating. And what the consensus was is spread it out. You can spread it out a little bit. I don't have a paint roller that I want to sacrifice, so my fingers will wash. Yeah, I can see, by doing that, I can see that I'm light in the middle. So let's add a little bit more there. That certainly should be enough. Check for flush there on the ends. Let's clamp them up. I think it's very good advice to even out that glue, whether it be a paint roller or your finger, just so you got a nice even bit out there. I can tell that took better, and it's spreading out more evenly. And I'm just cleaning it up with a little wet rag here. If you can get that stuff now, water really breaks it down quickly. It's a whole lot easier to plane when you don't have those big old gloppers of glue on there. Let's take a little walk around of what we've got so far. So, I mean, everything, I'm really happy where I paid attention to detail and was careful with the measurements. All those chickens are coming home to roost now by things being square and true. The joinery all looks really good. I've got a little gap right there on that bear, but that bear had a big cup in it, and so that will settle down. I think it'll be just fine, but everything else looks good and tight. It's really stiff just now, but even before everything's all completed, exceedingly stiff. So got a little more glue to clean up there, but we've got our wedges sitting in there hard. That's a slick system, isn't it? That is a slick system. Sitting down good here. Got the tops, spent a lot of time on the tops. Flat, both of them perfectly flat. It's important for our tops to be flat because we're going to want to use our bench for a square. So I noticed there's quite a bit of getting some checking here. That means that these are drying out and they're starting to check. I want to slow this process down, so I'm melting some beeswax here in the stove. I had to put my stove out, but I'm melting a little beeswax in there, and I'll go get an old paintbrush and I'm going to paint that. I'm going to paint all these ends right now, and what that'll do is that'll seal that up, waterproof that, because wood dries from the ends, and so it'll dry really slowly and it's much less likely to check. So you can see here our apron is just like we'd planned, a nice 1/8 inch above our desktop or our tabletop. So we'll plane that down to match, but man, I am really getting excited about this. It's been a lot of work, and I'm going to really appreciate it. I'm really going to appreciate it when I'm done. Those bolts look nice, don't they? It's kind of don't like the idea of putting bolts in a carpenter's bench, but just two solitary bolts, just two or single bolts over there. That I think it looks really nice. I'd also, if I was going to do this again, I would have I dropped this apron down another couple inches and cover that tenon there. Didn't quite cover it, did it? But I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that's okay. I can't say that it really bothers me. I think maybe you could argue both ways. You can see the wedges, both the wedges sticking down there. That looks kind of cool. Glad I did the pegs, but I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm just going to sit here and admire it and watch the glue dry. Listen to? Watch the glue. Watch and listen the glue dry.
If I listen long enough to you, I'd find a way to believe it's all true. Knowing that you lied, straight-faced while I cried, still I look to find a reason to believe.